Mom can't sleep, then doctors took a look at her dress. She lay on the hospital bed with bandages all over her arms. Lesions marked her face and neck, and a wrenching stomachache plagued her since morning. She couldn't explain what was happening to her. What was supposed to be a family trip had quickly turned into this. Her son sat silently by her, his eyes puffy from crying. When the doctor told them what was happening, even she couldn't hold back her tears. Matilda Stockholm was a 39-year-old mom living in Seattle. She stayed with her son, Brett, who just aced his SAT exams. As a celebration of Brett's success in his SATs, Matilda booked a flight to the Caribbean. She'd raised Brett by herself, and as a single mom, she couldn't be prouder of the man he was becoming. For a few years now, Matilda felt like she'd allowed her work to swallow her whole. She'd overworked herself without taking time off to relax and enjoy everything she had. It was a coincidence that celebrating Brett's achievement gave her the perfect opportunity to go on holiday. She had no clue how much the trip would change her life. Matilda slotted the vacation directly after Brett's last day of high school. Before they knew it, they touched down in Aruba with their bags, linen shirts, and hats. A week passed with Matilda and her son enjoying all Aruba had to offer. The second week started well, but trouble reared its nasty head as the first day came to a close. Matilda was lying on the beach, the evening sun's loving gaze washing over her. But pain spiked across her body, wrenching a sharp cry from her. She sat up, clutching her stomach. The pain flared again, and Matilda stumped down the urge to scream. She couldn't explain what was happening, but she knew she needed to immediately get back to her room. Matilda struggled to her feet, picking up her belongings, including an emerald green beach blanket she bought on their arrival to Aruba. She hurried to her room, dumping her items on her bed before rushing into the bathroom. She took a look at herself, noticing that slight blemishes lined her skin all over. Her brows quirked. Something wasn't right. Matilda took some painkillers and a shower. She lay down for a while to let the pain ebb before she could meet Brett for dinner. After a few hours, Matilda was feeling like her old self. She got ready for dinner, wearing a vintage dress she'd bought alongside the beach blanket. It was emerald green as well, and it made her feel like she could take on the world all by herself. But the night wouldn't be as peaceful as she thought it would be. Matilda was enjoying scallops with her son when a familiar pain shot up the length of her spine. She almost hurled out her food, closing her eyes as the pain wended around her arms and legs. Was it the food causing her this much discomfort? She couldn't think of anything else that would make her body feel like it was splitting itself in two. If only she'd looked down at what she was wearing. A burning rash fell on Matilda's skin with a vengeance. The pain in her stomach had doubled, and she couldn't taste the food she was trying to force down her throat. "Mom?" Brett looked at her with raised brows. "You alright?" He ran a hand against her forehead and said, "You're burning up, Mom." "I'm fine," Matilda said. The pain was getting worse, and blemishes had turned her skin red. "I need to lie down." Matilda returned to her room with Brett's help. He got her a glass of milk and tucked her into bed. Matilda couldn't even change out of her vintage green dress. The blemishes on her skin turned into painful sores. She felt like someone was holding her under a tap of burning acid. She was also nauseated, with acute pain pummeling her stomach. As she tossed and turned, a realization hit her. "I need a doctor," Matilda mumbled as she weakly reached out of bed for her phone. She called Brett, barely able to explain everything. She also called downstairs for a cab and the location of the nearest hospital. Brett burst into her room. Worry and anxiety covered his face. "Mom," he screamed, lunging for Matilda. Did she look that bad, or was he being dramatic? Lucky for Matilda, the hospital was a short drive from their hotel. The receptionist booked her in immediately, and a doctor came to see her. Brett was drenched in tears beside her, awake even though it was hours past midnight. The doctor walked in with Matilda's results, aiming to speak. Then his gaze landed on her dress. "Where did you get this dress?" the doctor asked and called for a nurse. "We've got to get you out of that dress," he added. The nurse rushed in, hurrying Brett and the doctor out of the room. She helped Matilda into a hospital gown and invited the two back in. "What is wrong with the dress?" Matilda asked. What could be so bad about a dress to cause such panic? "How long have you had that dress?" the doctor asked instead of answering her question. "Last week, I bought it from a shop as we landed." "Why?" "The dress was made in 1950, kept safely through the years, I think," said the doctor. "What's interesting about it is its green color." "What about it?" Matilda asked. "It is quite poisonous," the doctor answered. "Shields green, we call it. Has enough arsenic to put down a dozen people." "I am glad you came in as early as you did," he continued. He also informed Matilda that the hospital would be retaining her for a few days until she got better. With her son by her side, Matilda didn't mind one bit.